Offseason grade for your Baltimore Ravens.
Well, you're right. I mean, look, I would have rather had Nick, I said Max Crosby. Like, I would have preferred that trade just go through. But I thought Hendrickson and keeping the draft picks was a great consolation. So obviously last year they were bottom of the league, I think bottom 3 or 4 in sacks. So Trey Hendrickson definitely addresses that. All right. John Simpson, they added to the O-line. I think they got some more moves coming with the O-line. But I hate the losses, like especially Linderbaum. We mentioned Likely before Linderbaum. I hate losing Linderbaum. The center is very important, his relationship he had with Lamar. And Likely, I like Likely better than Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
Andrews is good, but Likely, I think, is getting better and will probably be better over the next several years than Andrews. But I am weighing into this grade because this is all off season.
Yeah.
The coaching change. Because I think they already had talent. If they say they're even, like they're about the same level they were last year, their talent wasn't an issue. It was, and I'm not putting it all on Harbaugh, but we saw them not perform in big games in the postseason. We saw them be heavily penalized. We saw them make mental errors a lot. So I think Jesse Minter, I just think they needed a new voice. I think he can address that. I like the new OC was under Ben Johnson. It'll be interesting. I'm sure he's looking at Lamar like, man, I can do all sorts of things with him. Yep. So we'll see. So I am giving them, I hate the losses, but I'm giving them a B.
Solid.
Giving them a solid B.
I thought that was good.
I think that's a little home cooking for Brew's favorite team. That's what I think.
I don't think
I'm not questioning your integrity as a grader or as a person.
I put the coaching in there a lot, so you got to think about that. The coaching change.
All right, we also have to, if we're going to think about coaching, we also have to think about front office. I would say this offseason has made it far more difficult for this front office to ever execute a major trade.
Really?
Well, they're claiming that's not an issue. But
if they got a player that you want.
No, the other way around.
I'm saying if the Ravens have a player or picks that you want, I'm going to deal with them.
Yeah, well, I mean,
there were reports.
I want to get Derrick Henry. I'm going to deal with
it. The internet works in Tokyo. So
did you see the reports from The Athletic that said that they were used to the Ravens effing with teams?
Right.
People?
And yes. And so I think that in some corners of the NFL, the Ravens front office reputation took a hit. I
don't disagree.
Right.
With that.
So I'm saying I think that is at least somewhat damaging. Maybe it's not hugely damaging. I think it is somewhat damaging. I also think this offseason is almost impossible to grade until we see the Lamar deal and what that's going to be. So that is looming over, but you have to grade it in the meantime. Right. Also, 4 years, 118 for Trey Hendrickson reminds me a lot of 6 years, 120 for Von Miller that Buffalo did.
Von was like 33.
And Trey's
29.
Trey's 29? No, I think Trey's going to be 31 this year.
31.
Max Crosby was the guy you really wanted was 29. I think Trey's 31, going to be 32.
Trey's pass rush win rate last year was good.
It was great.
Even though he only had 7 sacks.
How many games did he play?
No, he's coming off injury.
And I don't love the fact that they lost their best offensive lineman.
Yeah.
And I don't love the fact that it's still just Zay Flowers at wide receiver.
Let's get one crucial detail out of the way first. Trey Hendrickson will be 32 years old this December. It seems like his age is a well-kept secret, given how rarely it's mentioned in discussions about his value. For me, evaluating the Baltimore Ravens offseason so far lands at a solid B, and I might even lean towards an A. Why? Because they accomplished one of the most difficult tasks in the NFL. They moved on from a Harbaugh. I want to be clear. I am not a Harbaugh truther. I don't subscribe to the idea that John Harbaugh is an irreplaceable genius, and I absolutely love the concept of bringing in Jesse Minter to Baltimore. This move has the potential to reestablish a truly dominant, hard-nosed defensive culture for the Ravens. It is strikingly reminiscent of what Mike Macdonald is currently building in Seattle, a system the Ravens organization is intimately familiar with. That alone, to me, represents a significant victory. It is genuinely hard to part ways with a coach of Harbaugh's stature. We saw the difficulty the New England Patriots experienced moving on from Bill Belichick. Analysts like Colin Cowherd kept insisting it was time, that the Patriots would be better off, yet many teams struggled to pull the trigger on firing a Pete Carroll or a John Harbaugh. I understand why. Running an entire NFL franchise is an immensely difficult job. For every Ben Johnson or Sean McVay who excels at both play calling and leadership, there is a Mike McDaniel or a Cliff Kingsbury. Brilliant offensive minds whose football knowledge is undeniable, but who seemingly lack the comprehensive skill set to manage a team as a whole. This is precisely why coaches like Harbaugh and even Mike McCarthy deserve a degree of credit. I always talk about this. McCarthy might not dazzle you with innovation, but he understands how to run a team. He knows how to manage an offense, how to assemble a competent staff, and how to navigate the weekly grind. Not everyone possesses that ability. Many crash and burn attempting it. That competence matters. It absolutely, positively matters. So, by moving on from a Harbaugh, you are taking a risk on a guy who does know how to run a team. But when it comes to on-field performance, the criticisms that have been levied, like the penalties brought up by others, are things I have been shouting about for years. Those undisciplined moments have driven me absolutely insane. And I place that squarely on the shoulders of John Harbaugh. In the biggest games, during the most critical moments, the Baltimore Ravens have consistently looked fundamentally unprepared. When you compare that to a dynasty like the Kansas City Chiefs, who are always prepared, the contrast is stark. It's why I gave the Philadelphia Eagles so much credit in the Super Bowl, and specifically Nick Sirianni, because they were prepared. When Travis Kelce tried to engage in his usual antics, trying to draw penalties and stir up chaos, the Eagles simply ignored him. They watched him, let him do his thing, and refused to take the bait. The Ravens, in a similar situation the year before, did the exact opposite. They got involved, they fed into the nonsense, and it hurt them. It cost them dearly. That, to me, is coaching. That is the difference between a good team and a championship team. So, by bringing in Jesse Minter, you aren't just getting Harbaugh out of the building. You are getting a 2-for-1 upgrade. You are injecting fresh energy and a modern defensive philosophy. I don't want to be misunderstood. I don't hate Harbaugh. I don't think he's an awful coach, but I have reached a point where I don't see enough elevation. I look at certain coaches and think, okay, I'm ready for something new. Especially when you have a talent as special as Lamar Jackson. With him, you have a finite window and you need to maximize it. I'm ready to see what a new voice can do. Now, regarding the Trey Hendrickson speculation and the comparisons to Max Crosby, we've touched on this before, especially when all the trade rumors were swirling. At the end of the day, I might be holding on to those draft picks more than I should. I think the situation is different from what the Los Angeles Rams did when they traded away their picks. With the Rams, there was a genuine sense of them going all in, and a clear necessity for them to do so. The players they acquired with their draft capital and the money they spent made sense given how close they were to a Super Bowl. When I look at the Ravens from last season and compare them to the Rams from last season, I don't see them on the same level in terms of what they both needed to do to win a Super Bowl in 2026. I understand the Rams' moves. If the Ravens simply mirror those moves, my reaction is, that's not enough. They would be giving up too much and still have more holes to fill. That's where a trade for Hendrickson, or a significant free agency signing while retaining your draft capital, makes more sense to me. I would be in favor of them going all in if they then used those 2 first-round picks to make another move, acquire Hendrickson, and then package picks for another impact player. But it seems like they aren't going to do that. So, they are going to work through the draft. And then the question becomes, how quickly can you bring these rookies up to speed? What timeline do you realistically have with Lamar Jackson? If I'm the Ravens front office, I'm operating under the assumption that we are going all in to win a Super Bowl within the next 2 to 3 years. That's it. That is the window. I am treating it as if Lamar Jackson might retire in the next few years, not unlike how the Rams approached the Matthew Stafford trade. I'm going all in because I am not banking on Lamar Jackson being the same player in the 2030s. I'm just not doing that. I wouldn't do it for Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, or Joe Burrow either. Unless a quarterback is 24 years old right now, I am not assuming they will maintain their peak performance into their mid-30s. I'm simply not banking on it. This might be the best version of Lamar Jackson we will ever see. I want to ensure we put him in the absolute best position to win a championship right now. Let me emphasize this point, because I know it's a take I've applied to Mahomes and Allen as well. I am not saying these guys won't be great 3 years from now. I am just not building my team's Super Bowl window around that assumption. I'm not doing it. If they are still elite at that point, hooray. That's a victory. That is an amazing problem to have, and I will gladly deal with it and reap the rewards when that time comes. But until then, I am operating as if we are doing everything we can right now, not unlike the Rams did when they first acquired Stafford, when he was closer to his prime. That's where I'm at. That's why I think a B grade makes sense. Nick wants to give them a C, but a B feels right to me. It's not an A, because I do think there could be another move, and it seems like they aren't going to make one. So for now, it's just the draft. You have to wait and see. Maybe there's a mid-season trade or acquisition, which again, would mirror what the Rams did during their Super Bowl run when they added Von Miller and Odell Beckham Jr. moves. I always like to highlight as examples of perfect timing. It is interesting to note that they have the second best odds to win the Super Bowl right now. But to me, Super Bowl odds in March mean very little. We have to see what the new coaching looks like. We have to see how the coordinating staff performs. We have to see how healthy Lamar Jackson is and all the other variables that come with a new season. That said, in no way do I think the Ravens have taken a step back. I don't think they've mishandled their offseason. Yes, losing a player like Patrick Ricard hurts, and you obviously don't want that. There are still question marks along the offensive line. But all in all, I'm still pretty supportive of their direction. That's why I think a B is a fair and accurate grade. I don't think it's a homer take. I mean, Nick just had a segment acting like adding Justin Fields was about to redefine the NFL. Oh, Justin Fields, the Wildcat, and Andy Reid are going to light the league on fire? Okay, sure. But somehow, adding a proven pass rusher like Trey Hendrickson is met with skepticism? Yes, there is an injury risk. Absolutely. You always run that risk with any player. No doubt about it. That's just something you have to wrestle with as a GM. But maybe Jesse Minter's arrival is carrying more weight in my assessment than anything else. I'm excited about the cultural shift. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you all think about the Baltimore Ravens offseason so far? How do you feel about their moves? What grade would you give them? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. Whether you agree with me or disagree, either way, let's get some discussions going. Let's get into some friendly fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun with it. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would love to see you be a part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something we are really excited to be a part of. I think we are well on our way to doing that. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.